Larry Satchwell here. You're looking at the view from my deck. Garden update, May 1st, 2024. Let's take a little closer look. Well, since we're at the top of the hill here, let's start here. My border here is looking pretty good. The dianthesis are coming along. This plant right here, where is it? This plant right here is a spurge. When I went to the garden outlet the other day, they had free plants, and you could only take 3, but I took all 3 of them. This is my Stelladora. It's starting to come back. I divided a couple of them into several different units, and I think those are going to be blooming this year. Here's the foxgloves. I left them here for this video. I'll be chopping, especially this tall one. I'll be cutting it down. It's not going to bloom anymore, and I want more spikes to come up. I could leave them here for seeds. Foxglove is a biennial. That means it blooms 1 year, and then it takes another year for the plants to rejuvenate, and then it'll bloom the 3rd year. My false indigo is coming up here, and so is the speedweed. I'm still fighting a lot of weeds here, the winter weeds, and I picked up this little plant the other day. It's supposed to spread and get wide. I forget the name of it, but I'll try to put it here below. The coreopsis is blooming amongst the weeds there. My daffodils have not died back yet. These daffodils were pulled up accidentally, either weeding or when I cleaned up my lotus pond, and I put them up here. They look terrible right now, but they're going to come up next year. They may not bloom next year, but they will in the future, sooner or later. I planted these, I think, the last time I was here. Veronica, royal candles, and some more speedweed up here. I need to clip these so that they branch out. Got a lot of crabgrass coming up here. I've bought some 30% vinegar that I'm going to try to deal with. This weed here, I think this is called Carolina chrysanthemum, and it is awful. We, in fact, closed down this entire hill, covered it with black plastic for 2 years trying to get rid of this. And it spreads from underground, and it's virtually impossible to get rid of. Very discouraging. I do have a few wildflowers coming up here. These were last year. And there's some red yarrow and some over here. I should try to transplant those and put them closer together. This is all black-eyed Susans. Some more foxglove and yarrow. This Hellerope here is a marina blue. I thought it would lighten up this dark mulch. It's supposed to get about 6 to 10 inches tall and spread for a couple of feet. My split leaf maple here is just at its peak. It is so pretty. These are gladioluses that are coming up. This plant here is Larkspur. I planted this from seed. I anticipate this, if it keeps growing, to be 4 feet tall. It will need some support. And I believe this is ragweed. There was a plant right underneath this anthill, and these have all come up on the outside. I'm going to give it a few more weeks to bloom, and it might just be a weed that I need to get rid of. Just step over here for a second to this Woodruff red honeysuckle. The hummingbirds love this plant. This is its 3rd year here. It bloomed, it didn't bloom at all the 1st year. Had quite a few blooms last year, and right now I'm just trying to train it. I need to get the ladder out so I can put that up on top of my gazebo here. Let's just continue down the perennial garden here. Dianthesis, looking good. This verbena, it is coming up everywhere. It's a nice tall plant. The finches love it. They will get on this after it has bloomed and gone to seed. This is Joe Pye weed. I've got a regular one here and a miniature one right there. There should have been a couple more. Let me back up here and show you a mess I have, and I'm not happy. I don't know how this happened. Let me step up here on my wall. Look at all of this white clover. I don't know how this got started. There's also a cedar tree in the middle of here. It's amongst all of this black-eyed Susans and yarrow. The only way that I know to get rid of this is to dig this patch of the garden up and separate what I want and throw what I don't want in the compost or give it to the chickens. This is going to be a big task. I either need to wait after a nice big long rain, or this part of the garden is really hard, and this is where the builder, the original owner of the house, dumped a lot of trash. So there's bricks in here, mortar mix. It's just a mess in there. Over here, my echinacea is coming up. This is another verbena right here. Has these little popsicle-like flowers on the top. Echinacea is starting to bloom. So one of these nice mornings when it's in the 60s, I'll get out here and start this project. I don't think I can finish it in one day. It's going to be in the high 80s this afternoon. More echinacea coming up. Another beautiful red yarrow. That's why I said I need to gather these together. But they will spread pretty quickly. I got this little rosemary yesterday. It's a trailing rosemary. I'm hoping it's going to come over my bricks. I've got this is the kind of stuff that's in here. It's just all kinds of bricks. These are all dug up while I was planting flowers. But I was going to say I have a small foxglove in here. There's barely any dirt. I don't know how it's hanging on here. Its roots are very thin, but we'll see if it goes. I think I'll add a little more dirt to that this afternoon after I finish this. This little sedum that's coming up through here, the daffodils. The mother of all mothers, strawberries here. We've only gotten enough to eat a handful. Karen brought me in a nice handful the other day. She loves eating them on the run here as she's weeding. My Shasta daisies that I planted in the basement last fall, and the echinacea behind it, doing really well. I anticipate those blooming any day now. More verbena, hard to see. There's some coming through that sunlight up there. My balloon flowers are another verbena, and this is a really pretty yarrow here. My blue-eyed grass looked really good last week, but it only blooms a little bit. Now these are closed up because of the colder weather. They will open up in full bloom this afternoon. My potato patch over here is looking great. Here are the other strawberry beds, and here's my plan for next year. I think that I'm going to move the strawberry beds over to the other two beds over here, the one with the metal and the other wooden one right over there by the cart. Those two beds get a lot more sun, so these beds would be really good for my lettuce and early spring crops. And I'm hoping it will support some squash. This lettuce is called year-round lettuce, and this from Pine Tree Seeds. And this variety, don't know how that got there. This variety is Gabrielle. We had this in a salad last night. This is from Season Such. I really like it. Took a long time for it to take off. Got some carrots coming up through the grit here. These are on here to keep the cats out. Continuing down this bed, we have yellow crookneck squash and yellow straight squash. So I'm going to be growing these vertically this year. I think it's too soon to take off any leaves, but I will be doing that probably before the next video, the next garden update. I thought you might be interested to see what I mentioned pine straw all the time in my uh, videos, and this is what a pine straw bale looks like. They're really lightweight, and they come in these big flakes. I usually take this apart and put it in my cart over here and spread it out. Got cucumber plants on this side. This is really interesting. I only put this up here yesterday when I mowed, and this cucumber on this side is the same exact age as those, but it's just not doing well. I'm going to put this on a vertical panel too. I just haven't gotten around to it. This is Candy, my storage onions. They're looking really good. I planted these radishes amongst the carrots to help break the ground for the carrots. But these are certainly good, and I'll be pulling those up to thin out the carrots. Here is where the lettuce was that I've been feeding to the chickens. This lettuce had gone to seed. We were no longer eating it. More lettuce coming up here. And spinach. This spinach is, I got it in too late. It should have been planted in February. I don't think I planted it until March. Ethan's flower garden here. This is red hot poker and bee balm. I'm already seeing some signs of mildew, powdery mildew on here, so I'm going to have to spray that. Creeping Jenny. My peas are looking really good. And so is the corn. Eli helped me plant this corn on Karen's birthday, April 23rd, and it's already coming up. So I'll be able to take the grates off of here and put pine straw down here. I didn't have any success with sprouting okra this year, so I bought some yesterday at Lowe's. They had a deal, 3-inch plants for $10. Here's another yellow squash. Look at these peas. They're starting to fill out, and a lot of blooms. Here's my wildflower garden. It's starting to get a few blooms on it. Blue glitter sea holly. I was hoping it had more stems, but I think it's going to have one and done here. It really is pretty striking, though. All right, over here to the tomato and pepper patch. My peppers are already blooming, really early for that. I wasn't anticipating that. My marigolds too, I'll be deadheading most of these right after the video. I left them up here so you could see them. But a few I've already deadheaded. This one needs to go. That'll keep the blooms coming and make them bush out some more. This poor tomato here is the number 42-day tomato. I don't think it's going to make it. I'm going to get a cherry tomato to put in its place. And I mentioned several videos ago that I don't want to use my tomato cages that I've been using for years. They're just so hard to store. They're a mess over there. And it's just, these I can fold up. And this is a Celeste. These are both determinate tomatoes, so they won't get much taller than the cage. A couple more squash plants over here. I bought this dill yesterday as part of that other dill. There's some basil around here somewhere we'll get to. Every YouTube gardener has a different take on tomatoes. How to support them. They've all got the best way. Whether you should remove the suckers, whether you shouldn't remove the suckers, that's going to have to be up to you. I'm going to try to put them on a string this year. This one is the closest one to being ready. I'm taking a bit of a risk here with this plant being so wet that I might transfer some diseases. But here are the blooms. This one's got some blooms on it already. I'm going to cut these lower leaves off. This one already has a sucker in it right here. I prefer to clip them as opposed to snip them with my thumbnail. My thumbnails just aren't quite that long. This one has a sucker on it too. And I think I'm going to take this one off. So this string here, my baling twine, I'm going to get these away so they don't harbor any disease. This was buried with the tomato. And I'm going to just wind it around here. And that's the plan for all of these tomatoes. I'm not going to do any more today until the dew comes off. This is a big beef tomato, I think. Let me get the tag out here. Oh, this is the blue ribbon tomato. Big beef is right there. So that's the plan for most of these. I'm going to leave some suckers on some of them, but I'll probably be taking the suckers off of most of them. The suckers will produce more tomatoes. So how you do yours is up to you. I really don't have a recommendation. I mean, I've been growing tomatoes for years and years and years in tomato cages, not taking the suckers off. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted as we go. I know this video is getting a little bit long, but I wanted to show you this. This is a hickory tree that I planted from a seed. I planted 5 seeds and 2 of them came up, and this one's looking great. However, the one over here has been nipped off by the deers, and this is going to be a real problem. This is going to be a real problem trying to make a new main stem. If I left it like this right now, from here down, that is all the trunk this tree will have. I've got to get some chicken wire around that one. Not going to be easy, but I've got to preserve it before the deers come back. But I want to establish another straight runner here, and that is just going to be hard. It might take several years. I'm going to leave all the leaves on here this year because it needs that energy from all the leaves taking off of here. But I will eventually be clipping these lower leaves off, and it looks like this one has the most potential to come out of here. If you have any suggestions, if you're a tree expert, I would love to hear what you have to say. I wanted to come down here to show you my persimmon tree. It is growing. I've got 2 of them down here, and I don't remember how many. I think I started off with like 10. I gave a couple away, and 2 of them I planted along the riverbank here. And they're both doing well. I have 1 more up in the woods in the shade that's doing really well as well. I was on my way up to the daffodil garden and passing the blueberries here. Blueberries didn't get hit by a freeze this year, so we're going to have lots of blueberries for the birds to eat. They seem to know exactly when they're ripe, and it's amazing. They can clean these plants out overnight. So the last couple of years, we have had very few blueberries to put in the freezer because we're attracting all the birds with the bird feeders. This is the last bloom of the azaleas. So what I'll be looking for after these bloom out, like this right here, I want this right here, I want this stem to get a couple of inches longer, and then I'm going to try to propagate them. Like this one is going really well. That's probably enough, but maybe another couple of weeks and that will be 4 to 6 inches long, and that's when I'll cut them off. So I finally made it up to the daffodil garden. As you can see, no daffodils, that's for sure. But look at these foxgloves. Just beautiful. There's a carpenter bee working one right there. Oh, that's small. That might be a bumblebee. And again, I'll be chopping these off, trying to get more blooms coming up. I have a new birdhouse right above Jimmy's butterfly bush. And I'm going to turn around the burpee garden. I'll wait for these to die back, and then I'm going to transplant them someplace else. They came through. They sent me the check, so I couldn't be happier. The Shasta daisies that are down in the garden, the same ones up here, and a lot of sunflowers coming up, and some echinacea back there. Well, I'm going to leave you today here with my rustic planter. The snapdragon's actually bloomed a lot longer than I thought it would. It's got some more spikes coming up over here. I need to deadhead this phlox. But I'm really happy with it. It's staying together if I can remember to water it.